Hello there, I'm Rick, and today I'm going to talk to you about what's wrong with gaming. And I'm pro gaming, so don't get that title wrong. But I think it's important that we actually argue out loud what's wrong with any thesis we have, and I learned that from Seth Godin. I'm a very loyal fan of his, so thank you so much. And I think we have to do that. We have to talk about why we're passionate about things, or why something is a must, and then see it from the other perspective. Be it we're talking to our customer, seeing it, why are they not buying my stuff, or being that I'm trying to learn, is this really the best way to get where I want to go, or to build, is this really the best way to serve those I want to serve? So we're so full of bias, all of us. It's really hard. It's like, the joke on the driver's license, and we're all raising up our hands saying, well, we're above average driving skills, and mathematically impossible, right? But we're similar when we're answering that survey as well, with how much we train and our self-identity get in the way. So I think it's really important that we actually honestly try to figure out what's wrong with whatever we're doing. And I'm not saying we should stop doing it, that's all, but we should at least try to embrace another worldview for a while. And first, I think what's wrong with gaming is algorithms that hook us, that understand the psyche behind, well, if you're always climbing up a tree and you're always bringing down a coconut, you're going to be less driven to climb up again. But in a computer, it's so easy to lure you and to understand that it's if you get it random, but quite often, but there's a chance you won't get it, you're going to get hooked even more. And of course, we see this all over the world right now, with platforms jabbing at our attention. So I'm not saying gaming is the only place there, but I have no data to back this up, but I think a lot of it starts from games, because it's so easy to A/B test and experiment there and figure out what works. And the wrong part of it is you can easily fool people to give away their attention 5 more minutes than they intended. Once again, I'm not talking about other platforms right now, where we see that too, but in games. I think it's so easy to sit 5 more minutes or X more minutes than we intended. And that's wrong. How can we mitigate that? Well, I think the benefit of gaming is we actually do learn to focus. We just need to figure out why are we focusing and having an intention set beforehand. Perhaps set an egg timer and actually rise up, even if someone is dangling something in front of you. It's just going to be 1 more minute. Perhaps have a few ground rules. For once again, talk to your kid about this. You can't set those, but talk to them about it. So, well, if they're playing in a social match or something like that, let it end, and then talk about that angle will happen. How do you not get on the train again? And that's an excellent training for everything in the world. It behaves like this. So the better we can train and learn to focus on the work that really matter, and to say no to attention theft, the better your kid will be off. So yeah, it's a tough school, but it will be well worth it, because they will do better if they learn to focus. The other thing that I think is bad with gaming is that we sit too much still. You can talk about virtual reality, you could talk about a lot of things like kinetic play and stuff like that, but in all honesty, most computer game players or console players sit still majority of the time, and sitting still is dangerous. I'm not perfect myself, I should train more too. So how can we do that? Well, why is it dangerous? First of all, Well, our body is built to move. We were built like to forage. Sorry, to scavenge and hunt around. Sorry for my English, I don't know. But to move around. We were built to do that. And our brain and our body needs physical movement. Things happen when we sit too much still. And once again, gaming isn't the only place where we sit too still. But I do believe gaming has escalated the sitting still. And what can you do about it? Well, first of all, I think you can talk about, there's apps you can install that says rise up every 55 minutes, or you could talk to your friends, say, well, could we do a walk once a day and talk about the games? Once again, if that's where we want to invest our mental effort, we could at least be walking while we're talking. Or once again, if we set an intention to level up, let's set that intention, play the game, and then walk and talk through what actually went well and what's repeatable well and what didn't go as intended, and what can we do things differently to weave in some sort of movement. And here I think it's important to look at movement, not training. If your kid don't move, they're sitting still all the time, encourage anything that involves movement. Taking a walk, standing up at the ding sound, doing things, nudge, nudge, and eventually, yeah, you'll get them jogging or doing a marathon, but don't start stretching too far. Start by embracing the fact that sitting still is dangerous. What can you do differently? And talk about that. And talk about yourself too. How much are you sitting still at office, perhaps? Or in a car, or whatever you're doing? Talk about that. And how can you help? Perhaps you can invite them on the same journey with you as well. So that's two things that are really, really dangerous with games. A third thing is fun is important. Fun is really, really important. We do produce better when we're having fun. A lot of studies shows that when you're having fun, you can easily get into the flow, and then you 5 times double the amount of results you bring. It's also quite nice to be in flow, and flow is healthy. It actually regenerates your body. So flow is important, but it's also worth talking about when we're playing. If we're letting someone else dictate our fun, if we're just jumping on the ride and then following the path that someone else has designed, or the narration that someone else has designed, or the story that someone else has created, we are still accessing part of the brain. It's still perhaps better than other activities. But how can we add some tension, or actually honest fear? Once again, I'm not talking about the fear like, well, I get an adrenaline rush based on this algorithm thing, or the tense when we're in squad playing together. Perhaps certain situation forces an intense action, and that can really spike our attention and get us engaged, but it's still under someone else's control. So I think one of the thing that's wrong with games is it's so easy to lure to this fun part instead of embracing this tension and dancing with it. The fear part that actually focuses it. It's easy to, well, let's talk about you for a second. Perhaps you know you have some work to do, and then your manager comes in and saying, well, I need this X o'clock tomorrow. Suddenly, you get that spike of fear. Well, suddenly you focus so much better, even if nothing has changed. Now you have tension in the room because you know it's a time-boxed activity, and you know it's a priority that you need to put other things aside and said, no, I'm not doing that, I'm doing this now. And that can easily be forgotten if we're in the same environment, because there's only one set of rules. In real life, there's usually a lot of set of rules, and we have to embrace that and focus and choose to focus on the stuff that matters. And I think, once again, play has been around us for eons, and play is an important part of development. And once again, the state of play really helps productivity and creativity. So I'm not saying it all bad, But we can all easily fall prey to that fun part. To only think we can have fun and someone else is gonna just fix the rest. And I think that's a trap. And I think we need to embrace the fact that a lot of gameplay is designed to ease us into that state where we're not thinking, we're just keep pulling the same lever, hoping for different results. That, of course, once again, is programmed never to fully come. So with that, once again, I'm extremely pro games, but what do you think is wrong with games? Share with it and in the comments, and I'll share my worldview on that too. Because we do need to embrace both sides. We can't just be pro something and think that covers the full spectrum of being right. Being right is quite often just a worldview or a mindset, and quite often being right now, 5 years later, being right probably means something different both for me and for you. So if we can help our kids see that, puts less pressure on them right now to be right. And they can dive into the learning, the experimentation, and daring to do instead of being perfect. Thanks for stopping by, my friend. Take care of yourself. Have a good one. Bye bye.